Hello everyone, today I will be introducing the importance of science, technology and innovation and why strengthening STI education is essential for Malaysia's future. STI plays a major role in a country's development. It supports economic growth, drives social progress and helps us manage global issues like climate change and also public health. In Malaysia, STI has helped transform our economy from one based on agriculture to one that includes high-tech industries and services. The government realizes that without a strong STI framework, it will be difficult for Malaysia to compete in the modern world and handle challenges like pandemics or environmental crises. But STI success begins with education. The Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013-2025 emphasizes teaching students how to think critically, creatively and scientifically. These skills are essential for building a strong workforce. Unfortunately, international assessments still show that Malaysia is behind in science and math performance. To address this, our policy also focuses on making STI education more inclusive and sustainable. This means closing the gap between rural and urban schools, promoting gender balance in STEM fields, and also introducing environmental and ethical topics into the curriculum from an early stage. Malaysia's readiness for the Fourth Industrial Revolution or IR 4.0 depends on how well our people are prepared. Future jobs will require skills in artificial intelligence, robotics and also green technology. By investing in STI education now, Malaysia can strengthen its economy, compete globally and be more resilient in the face of future challenges. This video presents a policy proposal to enhance STI education from primary to tertiary levels. It focuses on improving curriculum, training teachers, upgrading facilities and encouraging collaboration between schools, university and industries. Our goal is to prepare a future-ready generation that can lead Malaysia towards becoming an inclusive, high-income and innovation-driven nation. So, let's enjoy our video.
Malaysia has made notable progress in science and technology education through key initiatives like the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 and the STEM for All movement. This effort has led to an increase in STEM enrollment from 40.95% in 2021 to 40.573% in 2023, showing the rising student interest. In Budget 2024, the government allocated 100 million to upgrade the school computer labs and provide the new STEM equipment, reflecting its commitment and improve the educational infrastructure. However, the challenge remains. Many graduates still lack the advanced skill needed for the fourth industry renovation IR 4.0, particularly in areas like the AI, robotics, and data analysis. This current curriculum is often outdated and must be regularly updated to meet the evolving the industry needs. Several key gaps continue to hide the full potential of science and technology education in Malaysia. First, the curriculum remains outdated and not fully aligned with the demand of IR 4.0 or AI-driven industry. Although the Ministry of Education is conducting review, the current content is still lack emphasis on digital and emerging technology. Second, there is a shortage qualified STEM STEM teacher, particularly in the rural area. Currently, fewer than 20% of teachers in this region specialize in STEM STEM, which lead to unequal access to quality science education across the country. Third, students has the limited hands-on learning opportunity. While 100 million has been allocated in the 2024 budgets to improve the labs, many schools still lack the facility and the practical project needed to support experiential learning. Let us now look at the key challenges and the trend affecting the development of STEM education in Malaysia. The first major challenge is the outdated curriculum. Much of the current content fails to keep pace with the rapid advancement in the global technology. Teaching methods still emphasize the theory over application with limited hands-on or practical training. This leaves the student underprepared for the real-world problem-solving and innovation. Next is the shortage of qualified STEM teachers, especially in the rural and underserved area. According to the data from 2019, there were 4 times more arts and language teachers graduating compared to the science teacher. This is imbalance, reduced access to quality STEM education and created regional disparity in the learning outcome. Countries around the world are transforming their education system to stay competitive in the innovation-driving economy. In China, artificial intelligence AI education has been made mandatory in the certain region. South Korea and Estonia has integrated digital literacy, coding, and robotics into their school curriculum starting from early education levels. This country emphasizes the importance of embedding STEM education into their national growth strategy. Malaysia has taken positive steps by establishing a national AI office, which is currently developing an AI code of ethics and a regulatory framework. Strategic partnership with a major tech companies such as Amazon, Google, and Microsoft has resulted in a significant boost to Malaysia's digital infrastructure, with 71.1 billion invested in AI and cloud service in 2024. However, while national policies such as Malaysia Education Blueprint and the National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation (MPSTI) assist, their implementation remain limited due to the inadequate funding and follow-through. To close the gap and position Malaysia as a global tech leader, several key actions are needed. The curriculum must be modernized to include the emerging technologies such as AI, the Internet of Things, IoT, and coding. Malaysia must train and explore more STEM educators, particularly in rural and underserved communities. Research and development R&D efforts should be better aligned with the industry needs, fostering stronger partnership between the academia and the private sector. Infrastructure must be upgraded and more financial support should be provided to the STEM students to reduce the dropout rates and the increased access.
And I will share how we research the issue and what international models inspire our proposal. So we conducted a comprehensive literature review focusing on key national documents like the Malaysia's Education Blueprint 2013 until 2025 and the National STEM Policy Guidelines. We also reviewed global frameworks including UNESCO's Education 2030 Agenda and relevant OECD and World Bank reports. This research helped us identify gaps such as lack of practical learning, outdated curricula, and inefficient teacher training, and it guided us to book recommendations aligned with Malaysia's long-term vision. To ensure our policy was globally informed, we looked closely at 3 countries, Finland, Singapore, and South Korea. From Finland, we were inspired by their student-centered, inquiry-based approach where learning science is about exploring, not memorizing. Singapore stood out for its long-term investment in teacher professional development and strong collaboration between schools and the technology industry. South Korea showed us how early exposure to technology and integration of digital tools in the classroom can raise both interest and performance in science and technology. So these countries prove that with the right strategies, it is possible to cultivate innovation from a young age.
And I'll be handling the analysis sections on Malaysia education reform. Our analysis. Malaysia education system has undergone significant reforms in recent years, propelled by key initiatives such as the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2013 until 2025 in MEB, and efforts to integrate the Industrial Revolution 4.0 in parentheses. While these policies have improved access, digitalized literacies, and teacher training, systemic challenges including urban-rural disparities, funding, strain, and curricular misalignment continue to impede the progress. And here is our current policies and framework. Malaysia Education Blueprint MEB 2013 to 2025. Over the past decades, Malaysia has made ambitious moves to reform its education system. So, here's our call. The MEB outlines strategies shift to transform Malaysia education system, focusing on equity, access, which is reducing performance gap between urban and rural schools. Also to quality, improving the teachers' training and students' outcome in STEM and language proficiencies, efficiencies, optimizing budgets, allocations, and school infrastructures. And our key point is to become top 3rd PISA rankings by 2025, which Malaysia ranked 55 in 2022. And 100% preschool enrollment, which we have achieved 92% in 2023, and digital integrations in 10,000 schools under digital education policies. In second point, we do have a 4.0 and digital education initiative. My Digitals, a government initiative to digitalize education, include First Battery Net, TVET 4.0, AI, codings in school, which we have another platform like Danimas 2. And here comes our bar. But it's about the education budgets allocations 2023, and the source come from Ministry of Education, also 2023. Here come our systemic challenges about urban-rural disparities. There are structured strategies, for example, rural school still lag off behind, and teacher shortage. Remote school face high turnover rates, and also PISA performance. Urban students score 20% higher than science and maths. And limited fundings, buoyancy, which are TVET, which underfunded. Only 10% of education's budget goes to vocational trainings, and select implementations also having problems of overlapping programs, especially one best reasons and Delamo. And here comes the bar. The graph is about urban and rural STEM performance in 2023, which is from MOE annual report, maths proficiency and science proficiencies. And next, we have successful case studies too, and pilot programs that would help. Trust School programs, which is Yayasan Amil, which is public-private partnerships, PPP, model improving 84 schools since 2010, which we have 15% of increasement in students' attendance better, and we have better teachers' engagement. Frog VLE, which is the virtual learning environment. The Frog VLE, a digital learning platform implemented across 10,000 Malaysian schools, has demonstrated measurable adoptions despite initial deployment challenges. According to 2023 survey, 65% of educators now actively incorporate e-learning tools into their instructions, indicating gradual but significant integrations. At last, the stakeholder feedback and the criticism we had. In teacher perspective, their workload concern 70% of teachers report that excessive administrative duties diverting time from their pedagogies. Teachers felt overburdened with paperwork. Many don't feel trained for digital teachings too, and parents want less pressure from high-stakes exams and more focus on soft skills and real-world readiness. So, in industry and prime concerns, graduate readiness, merely 30% of engineering graduates met industry competencies benchmark in FFM survey, underscoring curricular misalignment. TVET advocacy. Employers emphasize expanding technical and vocational education to address workforce demands and parent and student dissatisfactions.
Now, for the policy design for integrating science and tech education into Malaysia's education system will be structured around fostering innovation by emphasizing on hands-on learning, critical thinking, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Other than that, we will also enhance the inclusivity by having equal access to quality science and tech education across all regions and demographics. There will be more collaboration and strong partnerships between schools, universities, industry, and research bodies. Not to forget that other key principles is by having a relevance curricula that align with the current and future industry and technological trends. The vision of this policy design is to develop a robust and dynamic science and tech education ecosystem that equips the Malaysian students with the knowledge, skills, and the innovative mindset necessary to become future-ready leaders and contributors to a knowledge-based economy. Next, for the objectives. We are focusing on enhancing STEM curriculum by collaborating with educational experts and by emphasizing the hands-on to focus on integrating cutting-edge technologies and methodologies into teaching and learning processes. Some of the core components involve infrastructure development, curriculum reform, teacher training, student engagement, industry partnerships, and access and inclusion. Next, for the implementation plan, there will be 4 phases. And for the phase 1, which is the planning and development, we will focus on the policy drafting and the consultation by the professionals and focus on the curriculum redesign and building pilot teacher training program. For the phase 1, our budget is around 30 million ringgit. And then for the phase 2, which is the pilot implementation, we will implement in selected schools and set up the infrastructure upgrades, and also to launch the industry partnerships to see if our policy is working or not. So the budget will be around 50 million ringgit. For phase 3 is the expansion and scaling, where and technology education that was integrated into the selected schools are already stable and improved, that we can increase the STEM scholarship and outreach, and also by expanding more teacher training. And the budget is in 70 million ringgit. Next is for the phase 4, which is the continuous improvement, making sure our plan, the science and tech education all around Malaysia will continue to improve by monitoring and evaluating program effectiveness and by updating curriculum regularly so it will not be updated, and also by sustaining the industry linkage. The budget annually will be around 20 million ringgit. Evaluation merits on how to measure the effectiveness and the impact of the policy. Firstly, we will look at the increased percentage in student enrollment in STEM courses at school. So our target, we need to at least reach 30% increase nationwide, making more students involved in STEM schools rather than other courses. Next is the innovation outputs. We have been targeting at least 200 new innovations annually by looking at the number of student patents, prototypes, and innovation. Other than that, for the teacher performance, we will focus on the improvement in science and tech education, teaching competencies and certification. So our target is 90% of the teachers are certified in STI. Furthermore, we will target on the gender parity in STEM courses by increasing the female and underrepresented groups' participation.
As we conclude, I would like to highlight the key takeaways from this policy proposal. First, this is more than just an educational upgrade. It is a comprehensive reform strategy, one that is structured, inclusive, and innovation-driven, designed to transform Malaysia's science, technology, and innovation (STI) education. Second, the policy directly addresses the core challenges we face today: an outdated curriculum, shortage of qualified teachers, limited hands-on learning, a disconnect between academia and industry, and the financial barriers that cause students to leave STM programs. Third, the reform is anchored in strategy policy principle, inclusivity, relevance, collaborations, continuous development, and a clear focus on future readiness. Most importantly, this proposal is about empowering our youth. It prepares them for critical IR 4.0 sectors such as artificial intelligence, AI, robotics, and data analytics by modernizing what and how we teach. To achieve this policy recommends co-curricular reform aligns with industry needs, teacher training and incentive, our infrastructure like the labs and equipment, public-private partnerships that offer the real-world learning, gender-inclusive initiative, and long-term sustainable funding to ensure the impact over the time.